talking about Jasmyne Cannick. Good morning.
Good morning, Dominique. Good morning, Miles, and the whole KBLA family.
What's funny to me is that you're actually in here in studio and tomorrow's your birthday, so that means this
Yes.
must be your idea of fun.
It it yeah, it is. I don't know. Somebody asked me yesterday, "Oh, you want to go to dinner on your actual birthday?" And I was like, "Yeah, I already agreed to do a voter thing for the Deltas, because I didn't have any plans. So I will actually be working."
Yeah. So, I mean, do what you love, love what you do. Couldn't you do the voter thing and go to dinner, though? I mean,
I
I'm just saying.
probably could, but I'm not because, as you know, as we were just talking about before we went on air, we got 15 days, and every hour of every day for me is jam packed. So when I can get some sleep, I'm gonna take that sleep. That's like the greatest birthday gift.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Um, so you have a slate. Um,
I do.
and you have recommendations how folks should vote. We probably won't have time to go through the whole thing,
No, we don't
but
have
I
to go
do
through it,
want
but
to go through
yes.
some stuff.
We got choices, people. We got choices. We got choices. E40 told us all about our choices. Nope. Yep. Right. So, yeah, every year I do voter recommendations. I do it with the community in mind. I got to do it with the community in mind because if I didn't, I would probably be voting a different way because I don't have kids. So what do I care about the school board? I don't have, this or that. So my voter recommendations, I always take into consideration the folks who don't vote, the folks who can't vote. I think about what's going to be best, what's going to lift us up as a whole versus just me. And yeah, I've tried to be like that in all of my every time I even if I'm working for a candidate, working on a race, and I don't work on races for people or issues I don't believe in, but I just always do try to think about the community. Sometimes I disagree with the Democratic Party, but that's okay. They'll be
Same.
all right. You know what I'm saying? I don't ever think the Democratic Party approaches things from a black point of view or a point of view that says what's going to be good for black people, you know? And so there are times in my voter recommendations where we've had to part ways. But you know what? It's all good. Everybody has a choice. I just want people to make an informed decision, not just vote because they think a name sounds black, because that has gotten us in a lot of trouble in the past, folks. And, Dominique, today is October 21st. So it is technically the deadline to register to vote in the election. Today,
So when you
11:59.
say technically, that means if you register by today, you will get a vote by mail ballot still, right?
You can. And this so in California, I kind of always kind of chuckle a little bit because it's like, yeah, so there's a voter deadline, but you can vote with a provisional ballot and do same day registration in the state of California. It's just that your provisional ballot will be counted after it's verified. So it won't be like in that first group of numbers that folks see, 50% of people or whatever, right? They have to verify it and then it will be counted. And a lot of people don't like that. They want to just they want their vote to be cast and counted along with everyone else's. But we do have situations where people show up and they realize, oh, I'm not registered where I thought I was, or, this or that. So we don't have polls anymore. We have vote centers. Um, and folks can register online and check their status. I got to say this if I don't say anything else, let me say this, Dominic, before we jump into it. I hear a lot of black folks thinking, everybody's a political strategist now. And everyone likes to talk about politics. And I hear a lot of us talking about how we're independent. We don't have no independence in the state of California. You are either an American Independent Party member or you are a no party preference, which used to be declined to state. And I want you to check your voter status today before 11:59 if you're one of those people that like to tell people you're an independent, because you might be registered to the party that endorsed Robert F. Kennedy, who has now in turn endorsed Trump, right? And the party that is it's a far-right political party who is known for their nomination of Governor George Wallace of Alabama, who, for folks who know their history, know that he, was a racist, supported segregation against Richard Nixon and Hubert Humphrey and a whole bunch of other stuff. But the American Independent Party is not what you think it is. You want to be no party preference if you truly don't want to belong to a political party and you are here in California. So please check your registration if you think that is you and get that corrected.
And that is very, 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 very confusing, and probably purposely so, right?
I think so, but I also, again, encourage people to check their voter status. Make sure you're registered at the right address to the right party. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
Right
Stop
address,
telling
right
people
party.
you're independent. Say you're no party preference. Sound like you know what you're talking about.
So what people think of as independent, meaning you're not in the Republican Party, you're not in the Democratic Party, you're not in the Green Party, you're not in the Independent Party.
Or the Peace and Freedom or the Libertarian.
Or the Justice for All Party.
Yeah.
That means no party preference. That means you're not in a party.
Right.
You might hear people on TV talking about independent voters, but in California, that is no party preference.
Yes, for years and years, we were declined a state.
Right.
And then that changed to no party preference. And if you are registered to something called the American Independent Party, and you consider yourself a progressive Black person, you really want to get that corrected.
So if I'm signed up as no party preference, how does my ballot come? Do I have, do I get to choose any candidate?
Well, we're in the general, so you're first we're in the general, not the primary.
Right.
So yes, you're going to get to choose on everybody. And about half, if not slightly more than half of everything we're voting on is nonpartisan anyway.
Theoretically,
yeah, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
anything local. So your state and federal stuff is partisan. But, when it comes to the measures and the DA and your council member, and things of that sort, it's nonpartisan. So you would see all of that on your ballot anyway.
So the only time it really comes into play is in the primary, where you'll
Yeah.
see, I don't know, what would you see if you're no party
Well,
preference?
you can do crossover. I think they call it crossover balloting,
Yeah.
where you can request a ballot from parties that participate in that. Not every party in California will let no party preference folks get their ballot, but you can do that, or you just end up with what you end up with. I'm wondering what that's like too, because I wonder, does that mean you don't get any mail? You don't get any text
Yeah,
messages?
maybe I should sign up for that. I'm so sick of these doggone mailers.
No comment. No
Save a
comment. That's
tree,
my
save-
job.
I know. Save a tree. Save a tree. Okay, well, look, we haven't spent a lot of time on judges. I know you want to talk about the DA's race. We haven't spent enough time on these local measures and county measures.
Okay.
But if you want the your voter guide, it's at iamjasmyne.com, right?
Right. Folks love my parents. My name is spelled Jasmyne. And yeah, you can go to voteforjasmyne.com or iamjasmyne.com. If you follow me on social media, I think it's pinned to all of my profiles. So it's not hard to find. And yeah, I mean, if you have any questions, you can definitely feel free to reach out to me about why I feel a certain way about something. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, I look at a lot of voter guides.
Yeah.
That's part of how I figure out what makes sense. Who do you look at besides your own?
I look at folks who I think haven't sold out. I look at folks who I believe know what they're talking about. I do look and see, obviously, I'm a delegate in the Democratic Party, so I look at what the delegates are, the party is saying. I will say, in the role that I have in the Democratic Party, for the past 2 years, we've been interviewing candidates, doing, because, when you get that piece of mail that says endorsed by the Democratic Party, they had to go through a process, right? Or endorsed by this Democratic club. I belong to a lot of the clubs and stuff, so I have to sit through those interviews and listen to a lot of candidates. I get to listen to a lot of candidates speak before, those votes take place with the members. So I take all of that, plus my own knowledge, my own work that I do. Like I said, I kind of take it all, and I usually take a day and I sit down and just, go through it and see what makes sense. I mean, this year there were two that I couldn't come to an answer on right away. One was Prop 36. And
Really?
no, it took me a minute, but I arrived at no, just so you know.
And we'll follow that process. Yeah, we're about to get into these choices. Jasmyne Cannick, Slate, and my little short commentaries when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. Tabitha Smiley's new book, The Covenant with Black America, 20 years later, is now on sale everywhere. This classic text shot to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list almost 2 decades ago. If you have the original book, you will surely want to get this 20th anniversary edition with powerful new contributions from today's leading voices. This 20th anniversary edition presents a compelling blend of historical insights and contemporary urgency in this critical and unprecedented election year. Get your copy of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later today.
King C. Gillette knows you're dedicated to your barbershop routine. But what about after? What's your routine for facial hair to avoid dry skin, itching, and beard rough? Well, the King C. Gillette Beard Oil is the perfect fit for making your beard feel as good as it looks. It softens your facial hair and moisturizes to help prevent itch due to dry skin. Get facial hair that feels as good as it looks. Just trim, wash, and soften. With King C. Gillette.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelenos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Are you interested in catching up on all the latest entertainment news, trending topics, and exciting interviews? I got you. Tune in to The Raw Report with Robin Ayers, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. I'm your host, Robin Ayers. Join me every weekday with some of the best entertainment contributors in the business as we break down what's going on, who's got next, and what not to miss. Only on The Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Nikisha Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader. Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their programs. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Nope. Yep. Nope. Yep. Nope.
Okay, it's Jasmine's theme song.
Yeah.
This is how the birthday girl's finna do her
Yeah.
slate.
Everybody got choices.
All right, so following up on that, I kind of want to start with the things that we get the deer in the headlights look about when they come on.
Let's jump into it.
And one of those is water boards.
Okay,
Like,
let's talk
who
about
follows
water
water
boards.
boards? You do, of course.
A little
you do.
bit.
Yeah.
I don't have to follow them completely because one of my dear friends sits on the water board and is always keeping us informed. So we have water boards, as quiet as it's kept. Not a lot of people of color in these positions. I think a lot of people know that Inglewood Council member Gloria Gray spent many years on water boards here in our area and has done a lot of work around educating people on what's happening with their water infrastructure, access to clean water, keeping rates low, etc. Another person that I look to around water information is Leticia Vasquez. She represents like Compton, Carson, Downey, sort of some of the southeast cities for the Central Basin Water Board. So if you see her on your ballot because you're in that area, please reelect her because she's been a really great water champion. But the folks who sit on your water board, they are there to monitor, not only making sure that we have clean water and access to water, but in all neighborhoods, the same quality of water is being given, that our water infrastructure. I mean, how many times, Dominique, have you driven down the street and DWP is working because a water main broke or, the streets are flooded? I mean, our water infrastructure, not just in the city of LA, but throughout the county of LA, has a lot of issues, right? It's aging. And then on top of that, there's the source of our water, right? Making sure that there is a constant supply of water. I tell people all the time, you can survive without food, but you cannot survive without water.
Yeah, water's going to, and I think as the climate emergency gets more serious, it's going to become a much more important role in people's minds. So they oversee the water.
Yeah, I try to put it in I try to explain.
You say what they do. They oversee the management and distribution of water. You said
Yeah.
you look for somebody who takes it seriously and understands sustainability and conservation. The one you have recommended is Leticia Vasquez.
Right, because of that specific area, right? So,
That's
like I
the
said,
central-
Compton, Carson, a lot of the southeast cities, she represents that area. I know that you have a lot of KBLA listeners from that area, but she's also just someone that I know and someone who I've watched through the years do a lot of great work in terms of fighting for transparency also in water, so folks know how their tax dollars are being spent and what's going on with water agencies. So no matter where you live at in LA County, if you have any candidate, because each area has a different water board, just do your research on the candidates. Don't just check someone because it says incumbent or whatever. Just research the person and see what they're up to. And as I always say about candidates, if they don't even have a website, I'm just saying it's 2024. You should be able to research a water person online.
Okay. So let's talk about choices. Let's talk about judges. I think we haven't spent enough
Okay.
time on this. I know you have. And you have recommendations for pretty much every seat here.
Yeah, so we voted on a bunch of judges in the primary, right? And then we now are coming back to a runoff between two candidates for certain offices, right? And so how it goes is that when you have vacancies in between terms, the governor, this is Los Angeles Superior Court, meaning criminal court, also civil court, like our traffic court, those courts. Our governor can make appointments, but folks have to run every 6 years, right? And so that's why and it's staggered, so that's why almost on every ballot, we tend to end up voting for judges. It's the least sexiest, the least prettiest, but I think that people are paying more attention as there's been more awareness of what's happening in our courts. Now, again, when you run for judge, you can't, you don't know where you're going to get assigned. You don't know if you're going to be in divorce court. You don't know if you're going to have, you don't know if you're going to get criminal court. But I think there are just some common sense things we can look for. And there has been a lot of conversation about diversifying the bench and making sure that there are more Black folks who are elected as judges. So, I always crack this joke about like that, once they get elected, you're probably not going to see them again. And that could be a good or a bad thing because you might not want to be before them in a courtroom. But it's not like judges hang out in our community and show up to all the community events and stuff. And maybe we don't want them to so they can remain neutral. But we have a record number of Black folks on the ballot this year and a record number of Black women who are running for judge on the ballot.
Right. So you have recommended, and I notice you don't put the opponent on here, but you have.
Why should I waste space and my energy in doing that? It's my voter guide.
All right. So for seat 39, you have George Turner. He's running against Steve Napolitano here. But this is kind of classic, right? Because Napolitano is a white man who is a DA.
Mm-hmm. That has been the pathway to judgeship, has been a DA. And
be a prosecutor. Yeah.
Yeah, being a prosecutor. And that is thanks to the voters who, for some reason, it's still the number one ballot designation for folks running for judge. For some reason, we like to talk a lot of crap about prosecutors, but when we see that by someone running for judge, we get giddy inside and vote for prosecutors. For a minute there, I was so mad at some of the things that were happening in the courts. I was like, I'm not voting for any more prosecutors running for judge. I have since mellowed out a little bit because I've seen a lot of changes in the DA's office. But we also have a record number of folks coming out of the public defender's office running for judge, which I think is absolutely amazing.
That's a great new trend. And the defenders of justice, that public defender's slate, wasn't Turner part of that?
Yes.
He was. Okay, so
the people on here are a part of that. Erica is a part of that.
Okay, so we're going to go down.
Okay.
So you've chosen George Turner over Steve Napolitano. I think for most people that should be a little easier one to figure out. It's a Black man who's who's endorsed by the California Progressive Alliance versus a white guy who's endorsed by the Association of Deputy DAs and the Association for Los Angeles Deputy Sheriffs.
Okay.
All right. That's all she going to say. And then you are saying, and Carl called in, he wanted to know about seat 48, Erica Wiley versus Renee Rose. Renee Rose, Long Beach Police Officers Association, is one of her top endorsements. And on your guide, you choose Erica Wiley. Tell me why.
I have made my decisions on these people based off of attorneys that I trust in our community who know these people and a few groups whose opinions that I trust. Now, I will say that I do not think, I hope we get to the day, Dominique, where law enforcement agencies are not weighing in on judges.
Yeah.
Law enforcement agencies, through their unions, are not weighing in on the DA or the sheriff either, because I feel like that is a conflict of interest.
I mean, I think it's a conflict of interest for them to be weighing in on mayors and governors, to be honest with you, too. You're supposed to be protecting and serving all people, so how could you be choosing a party?
Yeah.
That seems very problematic. That said, I've actually interviewed both Mr. Turner and Mr. Wiley, so I'm going to, Ms. Wiley and Mr. Turner, so I'm going to concur with you that those are my choices as well. We've got news, traffic, and sports, then more choices with Jasmyne Cannick when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Boeing has reached a tentative deal with its machinists union that could end a weeks-long strike. The new contract would include a 35% wage increase over the next 4 years, higher 401k contributions, guarantee payouts in a bonus program, and a higher signing bonus. Rainfall and flooding Saturday in Roswell, New Mexico has killed at least 2 people. Around 300 people have been rescued by the National Guard, say city officials. City police and fire departments worked with state police and the National Guard to carry search and rescue efforts into Sunday. Former President Trump has made good on a promise to serve up some fast food at a McDonald's. He cooked up French fries and worked a drive-thru in Pennsylvania Sunday. And the Liberty Air WNBA champions, New York beat the Minnesota Lynx 67-62 in overtime in Sunday's deciding Game 5 of the WNBA Finals. This is the first title for the Liberty. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 in my garage after I overpaid for new blinds. I researched the industry, hired my mom, and 14 years later, we're one of the largest retailers of custom blinds in the U.S. Don't pay too much for new blinds. Go to Blindster.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers and New York Yankees in the World Series has a nice ring to it. For the first time since 1981, 2 of Major League Baseball's most celebrated franchises will meet up for the 12th time to decide the MLB championship. Game 1 is Friday at 4 p.m. at Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers eliminated the New York Mets in 6 games. The 10-5 win Sunday night gave the Dodgers 46 runs against the Mets, the most by any team in a postseason series in MLB history. The Rams are 2-4 after a 5-point win over the Raiders at SoFi. The defense limited the Raiders to just 5 field goals, no touchdowns. The Chargers are on Monday Night Football tonight. They're at Arizona to take on the Cardinals. 6 p.m. kickoff on ESPN. The New York Liberty won their first WNBA championship. They beat the Minnesota Lynx in overtime in the decisive Game 5. Next year, the WNBA Finals expands to 7 games. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Black Women for Wellness and Stand LA are standing up against harmful oil drilling in South Los Angeles. Our Bad Neighbors campaign exposes the serious health risks of drilling in our neighborhoods. You've seen the billboards, posters, and coffee sleeves around South LA. Now join the movement to protect our health, our families, and our future. Visit bwwla.org/no-drilling to learn more and get involved. That's bwwla.org/no-drilling.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
Have you noticed the hype around retinol lately? It's all over my social media. But did you know you can get retinol in a body wash? Amazing, right? Olay Retinol Body Wash is packed with moisturizing vitamin B3 complex plus retinol to transform dry skin to visibly renewed in just 14 days. Try it the next time you shower and see the difference for yourself with Olay Retinol Body Wash for visibly renewed skin in just 14 days. And try Olay Retinol 24 Body Lotion.
Moments like making my kids my famous meatballs mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that has spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib.
Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative NBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
All right, we're going to do a speed round here with these judges because I know we got a bunch of stuff. So, look, Sharon Ransom, seat number 97. Sharon Ransom is your choice. For some, that may be confusing because it's two black women running against each other. And Ransom is a deputy DA here. Henderson, the public defender. You chose the DA over the public defender. Why?
On this particular race, I took advice from other attorneys, other black attorneys. One, I'll have to give. He didn't give me advice on this one, but one attorney that stays in my ear about this stuff is Carl Douglas.
I bet.
All the time.
I bet he does.
All over the weekend, he was on my case about Prop 36 and different races. So, but yeah, I take advice, like I said, from other attorneys, folks who know way more than me about the law.
I mean, if you're just looking at the credentials, you might think Lachey Henderson is more progressive. You chose Sharon Ransom. I interviewed both of those, and I found Sharon Ransom to be quite impressive, I will say. Not belaboring the point, you've also chosen Georgia Huerta. Again, here you have a black woman running against Stephen Yee Mack, and he's got the AFL-CIO, the labor endorsement.
Okay. Sometimes like I said in the beginning, sometimes I make my decisions not based off of the party or labor or other things. And at the end of the day, if voters aren't going to do their own homework, they have to look to someone who they trust, and that's why you get all those slates, exactly. In the mail and stuff. And I am choosing. I belong to a bunch of different Democratic clubs. These candidates interviewed with our clubs, so I had a chance to hear people speak, and that's where I landed.
Yeah, she's
same with Tracy.
Was a great interview, and both of them running in this case are deputy DAs. So
yeah,
you're choosing between a African American woman and an Asian American man.
Yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about. This is not like when Christopher Darden ran for judge. This is different. So I don't have anything bad to say about their opponents. Mm-hmm. These are just the 5 people that I'm supporting.
Right, and you chose Tracy Blunt over Luz Herrera. Again, she's
with the DA's office as well, I believe.
LA County Council's office.
Oh, the
now,
county.
But I think formerly she was formerly a DA for San Bernardino. I
got to hear her speak a lot, Dominique, over the course of this election season because she made a point to apply for the various Democratic clubs endorsements that I belong to. So I had the opportunity to hear her speak. Watch her go, compete for the endorsement of clubs. One club in particular, I recall the Stonewall Democratic Club. I remember she came to meetings even after her race she had already gotten the endorsement. Like, she was still participating and showing up. And a lot of times people don't. Candidates don't. After they get the endorsement, you don't see them again until it's time for them to run for re-election. And I just thought that was really interesting, and I appreciated that.
Okay, so I'm rushing a little bit now. But I do want to spend some time on these county measures because I think we could, you could just never have enough. Maybe the one we haven't talked about enough is, so I'll start with Measure G because I feel like it's really important. Measure G changes the number of folks on the LA County Board of Supervisors.
It does a lot. So I'm going to back it up a minute and just explain. A local measure is a proposal that we, the voters in a city or a county, at the state level, we call them propositions. At this level, we call them measures. This level meaning the county or the city. And we get to weigh in directly with our vote. And depending on what that measure is about, it could be a simple majority vote or a 2/3 vote is needed for it to pass. Okay. And so Measure G is an interesting one because for me anyway, it has put two women I have a lot of respect for on opposite sides. It's a measure about changing the structure, ethics, and accountability of county government. So it's really a big shift in how things would operate. The measure would make some big changes to how LA County is run. One of the things that people are talking about the most is that it would create a new elected position in the county executive. The county executive oversees county operations. It would also establish an independent ethics commission that's supposed to crack down on lobbying and investigate misconduct. And on top of that, it's supposed to create a nonpartisan legislative analyst to review proposed policies and give advice. The thing that you were talking about is that this measure is also supposed to expand the 5-member board to 9, giving more representations to different areas of the county. Our county is huge, going down to that Orange County line, going all the way out to, Lancaster and Antelope Valley and all parts in between, right? And so the pro arguments are, okay, increased accountability and transparency, better representation, nonpartisan oversight. On the other side, it's increased bureaucracy. It could lead to potential power struggles. Costs could rise. And so you have Supervisor Lindsay Horvath on one side and Supervisor Holly Mitchell on the other. I'm with Holly Mitchell. When I said earlier that I take advice and direction from people who know more than me and have information, she's one of those people, and she feels really strongly about this. She feels like this is not the right move for LA County. Supervisor Mitchell has never led us wrong, and I have no reason to believe that she doesn't know what she's talking about here. And so when she has real concerns, I think it's fair enough for us to hear them out and to address them. And I also believe if this is such a great idea, we can circle back and do it. It can happen. It doesn't have to happen at this exact moment. It can happen in the future.
Right. Well, because Supervisor Mitchell hasn't said she's against expanding the board.
No,
she just doesn't like this particular piece of legislation. And my concern is my concern is making the county CEO an elected position. I don't agree with that at all. It's already too slow to do anything in the county. The county already moves like molasses going uphill in winter. And so if you add another elected position and politicize one of the positions that's meant to help the supervisors get things done, I just think that's going to be all bad.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think that there is room here to make this better. I think that if we could step back and take the time to really do that and not rush through something really quickly and give the voters an opportunity to really understand what's at stake, so that they can really make an informed decision, it would be better. If it's good now, it can be great later. And so I'm a no on Measure G, and I am with Holly Mitchell.
Yeah. Also, I do think that, that expanding the board is a good idea, but there's a lot of other stuff in here. It's just sort of become this grab bag of various things with possibly unintended consequences.
Measure A.
Yeah, A is important, really important.
So Measure A would basically replace the Measure H tax that we already voted on with a 50-cent sales tax. So this is the measure that you hear a lot of the supervisors and county folks talking about that's meant to tackle homelessness, create more affordable housing, make sure that there's real accountability and transparency. The plan includes building affordable homes, helping people buy homes, which I really like that. I like that part of it specifically, offering rental assistance, providing more mental health and addiction services. It's supposed to focus on preventing homelessness, support for vulnerable groups like children, family, veterans, survivors of domestic violence, seniors, and people with disability who are experiencing homelessness. Listeners, folks, family, a sales tax is the tax you pay when you pretty much buy anything, any goods or services in LA County. We already have a pretty high sales tax, but who are we? Again, I look at not myself personally, but the community, right? If I buy something now and it's $100, what is it? $109, $109.50 with tax, and this is going to make it go up slightly more, but and it really is slightly, and that's going to generate millions and millions of dollars that we can use to help folks who need the help. Rent is not going down in LA, and the cost to live here is so it's hard. It's getting harder and harder for everyone. I hate when I read these lists and they're like, oh, vulnerable groups, and they never have like single adults in there. We're vulnerable too. We are vulnerable too. We want to stay in our homes too. And so if there's anything that we can do to help keep folks housed, to help make sure that folks have access to the services that they need, we have a responsibility to do that. We should not be selfish and think about our own pocket right now. We also need to be thinking about the future. And that's what I find is very hard for some people to do sometimes, is to step outside of themselves and think about the future.
And here's the thing about Measure A. You actually are thinking about yourself, because if the Measure H funding dries up, which it will in 2027, and hasn't been replaced before then, we're going to see people losing jobs that are service providers, and we're going to see way more unhoused people on the streets, way more. And so from a selfish perspective, you could think of it that way.
Right, and that would be right before the Olympics, right?
Yeah, that would be all bad.
Yeah, that would be all bad. So I'm definitely yes on Measure A for sure.
Wow, me and Jasmine are agreeing today. This is really weird. 800-920-1580 if you have something to say. We are unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
This truck season, think about all the things you can do in a Chevy truck. You can even just with impressive towing, incredible bed and tailgate functionality, and multiple powertrains. Chevy Silverado, the first ever Silverado EV, Colorado and Tahoe have what you need to get things done. When you want to do it all, Chevy's got you. It's Chevy truck season. Get 0% financing on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups when you finance with GM Financial. Chevrolet, together let's drive. 0% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $27.78 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 9.3%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/31/24.
Are you coughing a lot, especially at night? Are you often short of breath? Are you using your rescue inhaler often? These could be signs that your asthma is not under control. To keep your asthma in check and help prevent an asthma attack, ask your healthcare provider for an asthma action plan. This is a personalized plan you create with your doctor that shows you what to do and what medicines to help control your asthma and to use when you're having a hard time breathing or when you're having an asthma attack. Please don't wait until you're having an asthma attack. Do something about it now. Schedule a visit with your healthcare provider today to make that action plan and take control of your asthma. For more tips and resources on the management of asthma, visit luma-edu.com. This message is brought to you by Amgen and AstraZeneca.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Tips to help improve your credit score in 2024. Establishing credit is an important key to achieving financial health, but building a credit history from scratch can feel challenging since you need credit to build credit. First, what does it mean to build credit? All consumers have a score between 300 and 850. You want your score to be as high as possible as lenders look at your credit score to make loan and credit decisions. A good credit score shows you have a track record of borrowing money responsibly. Remember, it's never too late to build or rebuild your credit. This segment is sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here to elevate your protection game. Using the same simple password across all your accounts, that's risky. While updating your passwords to be more unique is a good start, true peace of mind comes with LifeLock. LifeLock doesn't just alert you to suspicious activity, but monitors for more uses of your personal info and will fix identity theft issues that arise, guaranteed, or your money back. Secure your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Yeah, welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or diabetes, you're at higher risk of being hospitalized from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Explain why you chose this song.
Because it's time for Kevin De Leon to go. It's time to go. We got to turn it off now because he about to start rapping. And it's KBLA.
All righty, you dedicating that one to KDL. Of course, that is.
Thank you, Miles. Thank you for that. That woke me up for real. I wrote a whole, I redid the lyrics to that song, and I keep saying I gotta. My girl, Christian, helped me with the beat. I gotta do this. I really redid that whole song to match KDL. I did the whole rapping and everything. But yeah, it's
too bad you don't have it memorized. You could perform it right now.
I actually have it on my thing, but it's really early in the morning, and I wasn't prepared to come in and rap this morning.
Okay, so another time.
Yeah, another time. But No, he definitely has to go. And, you know, I'm going to say what I've been saying to y'all out there in Radio Land. You don't have to live in the 14th district to help get rid of Kevin De Leon. All you need to do is drop a few dollars to his opponent, Isabel Jurado. I always try to tell people $14 for the 14th district. You can volunteer. You can make phone calls. You can, I know that BLMLA has done a lot of canvassing and a lot of work because the 14th, you know, the highest population of Black people in the 14th district are the ones that live in downtown LA, because the 14th includes downtown LA. I mean, yes, it includes, you know, like Boyle Heights and East LA and Highland Park and Lincoln, what do they call it? Lincoln Heights or Lincoln Park as well, a lot of the eastern part of LA. But again, you don't have to live in a district to feel strongly about not wanting someone, because as I tell people all the time, he doesn't just vote on CD14. He votes on things that affect CD8, CD10, CD9, all the way down to San Pedro. It, you know, he and him being there is just a constant reminder to me as a Black person as to why I feel my city is anti-Black. It really is.
So you feel overall LA is anti-Black?
I feel there are a lot of things that happen here in LA that are anti-Black. I'm grateful and happy that we have different folks in strategic positions, like, you know, our mayor, who I absolutely adore and love, and yes, we will reelect her in 2 years, and our new council president, and of course Heather Hutt, and Curran. But overall, I do feel like that this county and this city is always trying to push us out of the borders.
You know, when you look at the City of LA reparations report, it absolutely affirms that.
Yeah.
And I always knew there was some anti-Blackness in the city, but when you read that reparations report, it's like, wow, it's way worse than I thought, and it has a strong historical basis.
Yeah.
I feel the same about Kevin De Leon. Everyone knows that. It's been a little over a year now since that shady tape was released. Has it been 2 years? 2 years. Okay, and he's still in there. He's normalizing himself. I feel like if we allow him to get re-elected, it's a huge slap in the face to Black LA.
And everyone else who was offended, right? The Oaxacans, like
right, the indigenous people, the
everybody
renters,
else,
LGBTQ.
Yes,
but why
absolutely.
aren't? I mean, I do see the indigenous people mobilizing.
Yeah.
I don't see renters. I don't see LGBTQ plus people mobilizing against this dude. They're just like, okay. In fact, I had a conversation with one of our colleagues who said, well, you know, what he said wasn't illegal. And a lot of us say things behind closed doors that we wouldn't want aired in public. Maybe he deserves another chance. This is a Black man.
Yes. I actually wrote a piece on politics and friendship that ran in a lot of the papers last week, and folks, it's on my website, because of the Black KDL supporters and the Black Trump supporters.
I mean, there's only like 3.
Yes.
Black. I mean, I'm talking KDL. There's more than 3 Trump supporters.
Well, yeah. But it's sad, right? Isn't it? And
they're a pretty raggedy bunch, I might add.
Yes, some of them are. There are some that are not raggedy, and I do understand their thinking for why we just are not going to see eye to eye. And I've been working really hard to maintain those relationships. So after November 5th, we are still on speaking terms, because it really does strike at my heart to have friends who are supporting, to me, like, wow, can you support this racist BS? Like, how can you do this? And you're Black, you know? But rest assured, folks, my voter guide is crystal clear when it comes to CD14. Isabel Jurado for the win.
Jasmyne Cannick is with me. I've actually kidnapped her for at least part of next hour. We'll see how long I can keep her here today. I want to talk about the district attorney's race. I want to talk about your struggle struggle with Prop 36 and more. A couple of these other races that we need to weigh in on. We're talking with Jasmyne Cannick and you on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know. 35% wage increase over the next 4 years, higher 401k contributions, guaranteed payouts in a bonus program, and a higher signing